Hi, and welcome to this third tutorial in the series. Today I'm going to talk to you about user types in gamification. Now, a lot of you may already be aware of player types. Richard Bartle's 4 key player types: killer, achiever, socializer, and explorer. You may not be aware of the 8 player types he created, which I'm just going to read to you. Are friend, griefer, hacker, networker, opportunist, planner, politician, and scientist. Not many people know those ones. But as I said, you're probably aware of them. And basically Bartle used the information he was gathering from his MUD game, the multi-user dungeons, and identified initially 4 main types of people who play the game, and how they interacted with each other. And there's a model around how they interact, how they develop, and how they evolve. Now, Richard is the first person to say that these player types don't fit very well with gamification, and one of the reasons being that player types assume that the player is there of their own free will and they're there to play. Within gamification, it's slightly different. Often, it's not that they're not there of their own free will, but they're not there to play. They are there to do something very specific, to solve a problem, to do something. So the player types don't really fit all that well with some of the gamification that we see. And what people tend to do is try and bend the meaning of the player types to their will. Also, you get people who describe killers as basically sort of enthusiastic people who like to win. And actually, when you look at Bartle's original description, these are the people who want to humiliate and destroy other people within a game. That they're there to just create chaos. Not ideal in a gamified system, really. So, as I said, people kind of created their own versions. You have Amy Jo Kim's social games, you have Playnomics, you have Nick Yee's types, but they all focus very heavily on games. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at something that's a bit more gamification centric. So I started with intrinsic motivation as my way to create these types, and with RAMP, relatedness, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And initially, all I did was name the types of people and come up with what these types of people would do within a gamified system. So I started with socializer for relatedness, free spirit for autonomy, achiever for mastery, and philanthropist for purpose. Each one of these is looking for something unique within a system. People will cross between these types. There'll be more than one type. You'll have a socializer, achiever, a socializer, philanthropist. You're not always going to get a single type. But it's very important and very useful to kind of focus on these 4 initially. So socializer's there to create social connections, to get its social status, to create relationships. A free spirit is there to explore and create. They want to find out what a system can do. They want to create within the system. They want to find the boundaries. The achiever is there to master something. They're there to learn. They're there to get better at things. They're there to solve the puzzles. They're there for the challenge of it. And the philanthropist is there for purpose. And when I'm talking about purpose in this way, I'm talking about altruistic purpose. They want to help people. They want to give back to people. There are other types of purpose that I've spoken about in the past. Sort of narrative and that kind of thing. And whilst you can see that they're there for that's a more broad spectrum across the types. As I was doing this, I realised that people aren't always there for intrinsic reasons. They are often there, especially during the onboarding phase, for kind of the extrinsic points and badges and stuff and rewards. So I created another group called Players. And just for the sake of completeness, I split them down into almost kind of a player version of each of the intrinsic types. So I created, for the player version of a socializer was a networker, free spirit was an exploiter, achiever is a consumer, and philanthropist is a self-seeker. And they're kind of emotive names, and they sound like bad guys in a superhero movie, but They're the guys who are there. They'll do very similar things to the intrinsically motivated people, but they'll be there to get a reward from the system. Why is this important? Why is it important to consider all these different types of people? Well, the reason is that not everyone is going to be in a system for the same reason. Not everyone is going to be there for the points and badges. Not everyone is going to be there to help other people. Not everyone's going to be there for social reasons. And you have to accept and understand this to be able to create a system that engages either more people or specific groups of people extremely well, depending on what your focus is. You're never going to create a system that can engage everybody at once, not properly. But you are going to be able to create systems that will engage one or two people extremely well, or one or two groups extremely well, or will allow all types of people to at least have something within the system. But you can't do that if you don't accept that there are different types of people. I'm going to expand on this a lot more in a future tutorial. I'm going to look very closely at the intrinsically motivated groups, and then I'm going to look at the extrinsically motivated groups. But for now, if you can just sort of use the idea that you have different groups, you need to try and attract these different groups in different ways, and that not one size will fit everything, you'll be able to start creating much better and much deeper experiences within your gamified systems. And I think that for me is a win. So until next time, I don't know exactly when the next one will be. I'm not quite sure of the topic. I think I'm probably going to expand on the intrinsic types. Have a look at my blog, keep going back and seeing what's on there. There's lots of information about user types on there. I've done loads of stuff on it about how to support them, about using Nicole Lazzaro's 4 keys of fun to help out. So have a look, see if you can use them. Stop abusing Richard Bartle's system if you possibly can. He'll be very appreciative. Or come up with a better system and let me know, because I'll be really interested to see what you've got. Until then, thank you very much.